what you're going to want to do is you're going to need to cut you 6 at ever how tall you want your raised bed to be, and 6 at ever how wide you want your raised bed to be. I'm starting out here with 38 by 38 because that's just how big a piece of our panel is. And ours was going to serve 2 purposes. Since it's going up against the fire pit, it was kind of going to be like a backrest or whatever, wind block type thing, and just to kind of give that sense of enclosure to the fire pit area. Going back, if I was to do it again, I probably would even cut it down one more time. We ended up cutting it down later on in the video to 28 inches tall because 36 was just way too tall for my wife to kind of work with and stuff. If these are going to be strictly raised beds, we probably would cut one sheet of that R panel into thirds and make it like 12 inches tall. That's all you really need for a raised bed, and that would be perfect. Get you 6 pieces at 12 inches and 6 pieces at, 2 feet probably is plenty wide as well. That would be my suggestion if you're making just flower beds or raised bed gardens. 36 though is pretty good because that would give you enough room to get 2 rows in each container.
All right, so now that you got your 12 boards cut at 38 inches, I'm just marking down 3.5 inches. You could use a 2x4 block. That's how I'm going to square them up a little bit. I'm just making a line straight here, and when I put the boards on to screw, I'll just line them up with that line and flush with the edge, and that'll be good enough for this purpose.
And now it's time to screw all these pieces together and make my 3 frames. I'm just lining up the edges and the bottom portion with that line that I drew earlier and screwing them down. They don't have to be real square or anything like this because, it's just going to slap a piece of tin to the side of it and be done with it. Making my 3 frames because it's almost 20 feet long. Anything less than 8 feet, you might not need the center frame, but definitely will for the longer raised beds. And I probably should have put one more in mine. We'll see how it does when it gets full of dirt. Alright, right here I'm just going to cut down these pieces of tin to 28 inches because we decided they were too tall. If you don't have a plasma cutter, which a lot of people don't, I just got mine recently, and man, you gotta love this thing. Yeah, it just took ever how long. This is real time right here, and I'm cutting through both sheets. I did miss one section where I guess I raised it up a little bit, but basically it cut through both sheets at the same time. You can also do this with a circular saw blade. Just get you an old plywood or pretty much any blade, turn it around backwards so that it doesn't cut like it would with the wood, and it'll zip right through this tin, and it'll go over the humps and everything else if you were going to cut perpendicular to it as well. It's a great tool. Just save an old saw blade for it, put it on a circular saw backwards, and it'll rip through this tin just as easy. Those would be the preferred methods. You have that one. Like I said, there's several ways to cut this tin. This blade actually works pretty good for that versus the abrasive ones. I don't like this for regular metal. It seems to kick off these little grit things or something. I don't know. I just prefer a grinding or cutting wheel over this for a regular mild steel, but this stuff it works great on, almost as good as the reversing a circular saw blade. Anyway, I had this scrap here, and I'm gonna have just this much waste. So here's my next line. Since we decided to cut that down over there and make it only 28 inches tall, because the full piece at 36, that was like up to my wife's belly button or higher, and she's like, man, that's kind of... Anyway, it was just make it... she liked it better shorter, plus it's not going to be as much dirt to put in there. And
So we're cutting it down, and I had this piece here. Even though it's yellow, that's fine. It's gonna look kind of ghetto, but it'll be okay. And we'll just stick it on the ends there, and we'll call it good. And then we'll start finding some old logs. I had all that cedar over there that I was burning up. I saved a few pieces right there, but that would have been perfect to put in the bottom down there as filler. But we might use some of those really old logs down there in the back, way back there, that we don't have cleaned up. There's some that are like 3.5, 4 years old down there, and we could put some of those in there as filler. And then there's a few concrete things around that we'll throw in there as well, just to kind of fill it up. But we want it on the ground because you want the bugs and the worms and all that kind of stuff to come on up through. And so it's, you know, it's kind of a raised garden, but hopefully it'll be something that we can keep over and just put a little hoop, and then we can have us some tomato plants and stuff in there over the winter, that the deer won't bother. Although with our new fence, they've been out of there and haven't seen them in there once yet, not even a track.
I found it was easier to take these into the shop and put them together as corners, and then I just used a piece of the waste, had my wife hold it up in place, and used the piece of the waste to kind of keep it level with the top of the edge. And then later on we'll go around and put a little piece of that edge guard on there so we don't cut ourselves on it when we're getting stuff out. Okay, so we've got it in place now. We're ready to just start filling it with filler and things, and then dirt. Like I said, if you made these smaller, just 12 inches or so, you could just go get some dirt, put it in there, and be done with it. But we're going to put some filler in the bottom, some old logs and some stuff like that, and then we should be good. So just remember, get outside, do something, find yourself a hobby, and just enjoy yourself. As always, we thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.